dietary management to stop any kind of hair fall or hair related issues. So first we'll go through what are the don'ts. What are the list of foods which we should be avoiding in order to reduce any further hair fall. So first is obviously gluten. So gluten is basically a protein which is found in wheat, barley, and rye. So excess intake of gluten, and gluten is always prescribed even for a weight loss diet. It is always good to be introduced to a person having celiac disease. Gluten-free diet is something which we all should be encouraging in our day-to-day schedule. But there are times when we are used to having rotis or puris or parathas made of normal wheat. So the best practice is always have multigrain atta, or always try to include different kind of new grains, what we practically call as a forgotten foods. So there are a list of forgotten foods like ragi, jowar, bajra. So these things can be also introduced in our diet if you are only stuck to gluten based wheat or rotis. So try to restrict a lot of gluten in your diet. Second is dairy products. So dairy is again something which has to be restricted because it has a lot of changes in the hormonal structure of our body as it is done to the animals. So it is always suggested to reduce or limit the consumption of plain milk, milk-based porridges, or paneer in your diet. It can be suggested to include plain instead of proper dairy in the plain form, you can have curd, buttermilk, and lassi in your diet because they are in the pre-digested form, and it will also help in promoting your gut healthy bacteria. Next thing which you need to restrict is excess of sugar. So we are all aware that excess of sugar or excess of sweet food in the diet, in our diet in any form, be it chocolate, be it laddus, be it sweets, be it donuts, or be it cake, pastries, or any bakery item for that matter, if you're including a lot of them in the diet, that means we are disturbing our gut flora balance. And if gut flora balance or the stomach or the balance of bacteria are disturbed in our body, we'll start having hair fall issues, skin related issues, and others. So it's always a best practice to limit their consumption. I'm never saying, or I'm never in a support of completely removing it from the diet, but yes, including them in restriction is always a good idea. So now let's understand what are the dietary management as a do's. What can be done to as a part of our diet to restrict or prevent any kind of hair fall in future. So first is obviously regulating blood test, or you should always go for a proper blood test. So blood test, if you have any kind of hormonal problem, if it is a thyroid, if it is a PCOD, so it's always a good idea to have a proper blood test around. And also, like I said in my previous slide, women do get anemia or poor hemoglobin level. Poor hemoglobin level is also a result of hair breakage or hair fall. So if you are facing any such issue, it's always a good idea to get your blood test done. Second is focusing on gut balancing food. So those food which are good for your gut, stomach, rather than going for any gut damaging food. And what are the gut damaging and gut friendly food? You can always discuss with your nutritionist or dietitian. She can give you a list of things to be included to prevent any gut damage, so that the flora of your stomach is maintained and you can have a proper growth, or you can prevent any fall of your hair. Next becomes holistic approach. So it's always a good idea again to not just focus on one thing. You need to understand that anything, be it your skin, be it your hair, be it your gut, be it your brain, everything is interrelated to each other. So always focus on your stress, sleep, hydration, food, and physical activity as well. So if you're just focusing on let's say food, that okay, you're including a lot of biotins, you're having your balanced diet or a rainbow size plate, and you're not doing any kind of physical activity, you're not maintaining your hydration level, a lot of stress is there in your personal and professional life, so there are high chances that you will still have hair fall even after having biotins and other supplements in your diet. So it's always a holistic approach if you want to change your entire lifestyle. Next thing which is really very important is the inclusion of micronutrients like zinc, vitamin B12, E, A, D, K. So these are the good micronutrients or the supplements which we can include through our diet, through supplementations. And what are the sources of vitamin B12, E, A, zinc is obviously green leafy vegetables, nuts and seeds, mushrooms. You can have protein rich foods. So these are the good ways to include in our diet in order to reduce or prevent any kind of hair fall or any breakage.